making headlines. The president re-establishes the Maldives Food and Drug Authority. The president extends congratulations to the Maldivian teams for their significant achievements at the Asian Surfing Championship 2024. And the Environment Minister discloses that 400,000 trees have been planted around the nation under the 5 million trees program launched by the president. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News. I'm your host Malak Ahmad Fayaz. Now for the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu re-establishes the Maldives Food and Drug Authority. The authority was re-established by the President under Section 8A of the Food Safety Act. With the re-establishment of the MFDA, is now designated as an authority under the Ministry of Health. Following the establishment of the Maldives Food and Drug Authority by President Dr. Muizzu, the Maldives Food and Drug Authority, previously under the Ministry of Health, has been abolished. All correspondence addressed to the Maldives Food and Drug Authority shall use the number 182 in the numbering system for state agencies. The former Maldives Food and Drug Authority was established in 2006 by then President of the Maldives. Even then, the MFDA sets and enforces food and drug standards. Although its activities have expanded, it has not gained much legal authority. So far, the MFDA has been bringing unsafe products to the attention of the public, banning import and sales of those products. However, it does not have the legal authority to enforce such orders. Likewise, food outlets are inspected but no action is taken against illegal establishments. The power granted to MFDA to inspect food preparation facilities and shut down facilities that do not meet MFDA standards has been severely restricted. It also did not have the power to monitor the production and sale of food on a large scale except for establishments registered as businesses, cafes, hotels, and restaurants. However, under the newly enacted Food Safety Act, recall notices are now issued to withdraw items from the market once it is deemed unsafe by the FDA. Failure to do so would result in fines between $651.49 to $65,149. With the new act, the FDA will be empowered to inspect food manufacturers, sellers, and storage facilities and act against non-compliant facilities, as well as establish a system to monitor law enforcement. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu extends congratulations to the Maldivian teams for their significant achievements at the Asian Surfing Championship 2024.
The teams have been qualified for the Asian Games 2026 set to be held in Japan. During the championship, Hood Ahmad secured his spot at the Asian Games with an impressive performance in the quarter-finals of the men's open category. Hood placed third in his heat with a standout score of 9.10. His South Asian competitor, Indian athlete Harish Muthu, also achieved third place in his respective heat with a score of 6.76. In this heat, 4 local athletes competed alongside 2 athletes from India. In the women's division, Mariam Rahil Naseem competed in the third round of the women's open category and secured third place in her heat with a score of 4.2. Her competitors included athletes from India and Sri Lanka. Thanks to the outstanding performances of the local athletes, the Maldives ranked first in the South Asian region and fourth in Asia. The Asian Surfing Championship 2024 took place in Toulouse-do Caf Atoll from August 17th, with over 100 athletes from 20 countries participating. This event marks the third time the Maldives has competed in the championships.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Musa Zamir concludes his official visit to Saudi Arabia. The 4-day visit was undertaken by the minister at the invitation of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. During his official visit, Minister Zamir held fruitful discussions with several government dignitaries of Saudi Arabia and members of the Saudi Fund for Development (SFD). In the meeting between Minister Zamir and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, Minister Zamir presented a letter from President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu to Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister. The letter was addressed to the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. At the meeting, both ministers reflected on the close ties of friendship and cooperation between the Maldives and Saudi Arabia, which are rooted in the common Islamic heritage, shared values and principles. The discussions focused on strengthening the existing bilateral relations between the two countries as well as opportunities for increased multilateral cooperation in areas of mutual interest. Both ministers also discussed the holding of the first round of bilateral political consultations between the Maldives and Saudi Arabia at a mutually convenient time. Minister Zamir also expressed gratitude for Saudi Arabia's long-standing support for the Maldives and conveyed hopes for increased bilateral engagements following his visit. Furthermore, Minister Zamir met with the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Investment for Saudi Arabia, Engineer Ibrahim bin Yusuf Al-Mubarak. The ministers held important discussions pertaining to the enhancement of economic development ties. They discussed various investment opportunities in the Maldives. Minister Zamir also expressed his gratitude for the support period provided by Saudi Arabia in the socio-economic development of the Maldives. Minister Zamir held discussions with the Deputy Minister of Finance for International Relations of Saudi Arabia, Khalid Bawazir. The talks centered on measures to implement aimed at enhancing trade and tourism cooperation. The ministers also discussed the expansion of investments between the two countries. Additionally, Minister Zamir also met with the governor of the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia, Ayman Al-Sayari. During the meeting, Minister Zamir also briefed the governor the economic situation in the Maldives, the growth of the tourism sector, and potential investment opportunities. The minister further addressed the prospects for bilateral trade expansion to overcome current account deficit challenges. Meanwhile, the discussions held with the SFD members focused on seeking financial assistance. In a post shared on social media, Minister Zamir stated that the meeting held with the Chief Executive Officer CEO of the SFD, Sultan bin Abdul Rahman Al Marshad, was very productive. During the meeting, the minister briefed the CEO with the ongoing projects in the Maldives and projects planned to be launched. They also discussed new areas in which the Maldives could benefit from funding such as infrastructure and healthcare. Minister of Climate Change, Environment and Energy, Minister Tariq Ibrahim, discloses that 400,000 trees have been planted around the nation under the 5 Million Trees program launched by President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu. He made the remarks while speaking to PSMNEWS after the official launching ceremony of the program in Formula City. The minister noted the ambitious efforts of the City Council and relevant authorities in Formula City to plant more than 100,000 trees in the city. He added that Formula has been always a green island. The minister also noted that the city is of special importance in terms of environment. Noting that 1.4 million trees has been pledged to be planted, Minister Tariq stated that the 5 million trees planting program is given a high priority by President Muizzu. He noted that the current numbers show that the aim of planting 5 million trees by the end of President Dr. Muizzu's tenure is reachable. The government decides to intensify its efforts in combating illegal immigration through an expanded series of operations. The Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology, alongside Maldives Immigration, has been actively conducting raids and operations over the past few months.
In a press conference, the authorities shed light on the initiatives of the newly formed task force dedicated to addressing illegal immigration. Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Ihsan revealed that President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu has urged a collaborative approach among ministries to find a swift and long-term solution to this issue. The task force, which includes the Health Protection Agency (HPA), the Maldives Food and Drug Authority (MFDA), and the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade, will see active participation from these bodies in all raids and operations. They will also take necessary legal actions as part of this effort. The initiative to address illegal immigration was launched by President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu in July following cabinet recommendations. Since then, joint operations between Ministry of Homeland Security and Maldives Immigration have led to the detention of several immigrants involved in illegal trade and food production activities that fail to meet food security standards. Efforts are ongoing to deport these individuals. To tackle the issue, the government has introduced a nationwide program named Operation Kurangi. The operation includes biometric identification procedures aimed at gathering undocumented immigrants and facilitating their deportation through coordinated efforts with relevant embassies.
The Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works, Adam Sharif Umar, states the results of a scientific study on the decentralization of administrative areas in the Maldives will be publicized on August 25th. The study is conducted by the Maldives National University, MNU.
In an interview with PSMNEWS, Minister Adam Sharif Umar shared that following the publication of MNU's findings, Ministry's teams will embark on a nationwide tour to various regions to assess and implement the necessary reforms based on the study's insights. The minister stated that the findings of the study will be shared on Sunday, highlighting that efforts are underway to identify any laws that may conflict with or pose challenges to the decentralization system. The minister emphasized the importance of seeking input from council members, the Civil Service and Women's Development Committees (WDCs) to ensure that the decentralization system evolves effectively. Minister Adam Sharif also noted that President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu has advised the ministry to seek guidance from experienced professionals while undertaking reforms in the decentralization system. A recent discussion meeting focused on decentralization reform was attended by key figures involved in drafting the constitution, researchers instrumental in introducing decentralization, and former ministers and mayors. The ministry is committed to refining the system based on these valuable insights. The Ministry of Cities, Local Government and Public Works is currently working on a roadmap aimed at strengthening the decentralization system. Over the next month, the ministry will actively seek the opinions of citizens and engage with councils across the country. Additionally, consultations will be held with those who have previously served in council roles. The government remains dedicated to empowering councils and ensuring the success of the decentralization process.
The Maldives holds discussions with senior officials from PayPal Holdings Inc. to address the challenges associated with introducing PayPal services in the country. In a social media update, Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Mohammed Saeed, revealed that discussions took place with PayPal's President for Global Marketing via an online meeting. The focus of these discussions was on the difficulties faced by Maldivian e-commerce businesses in receiving payments through PayPal. PayPal, a widely used e-wallet application, facilitates convenient online transactions. However, while Maldivians can use PayPal to send funds abroad, they encounter challenges when it comes to receiving payments. Minister Said reiterated President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's commitment to introducing online payment systems and e-wallets in the Maldives. He noted that efforts are underway to fulfill this pledge, including plans to introduce e-wallets from other countries alongside PayPal. The minister has previously announced intentions to bring India's RuPay card to the Maldives as part of these efforts. Speaking on PSMNEWS, Minister Said emphasized the potential for productive use of online platforms, including social media, to generate revenue. He highlighted the current system's limitations, which hinder Maldivians from fully leveraging these opportunities. Many creative online businesses and individuals involved in digital e-commerce face significant challenges due to these constraints. To maximize the benefits of platforms like TikTok, Minister Said revealed ongoing discussions with regional officers and has sought assistance from the Chinese government to address these issues. The The first session of the 20th Parliament concludes with members going on leave after completing significant legislative work from May 28 to August 22. The Parliament Secretariat has released a detailed report highlighting the accomplishments and remaining tasks. During this session, 23 bills were introduced, out of which 11 were completed, while 12 remain in committee. In addition, 13 cases submitted by the Speaker, 9 cases submitted by the government, and 9 emergency cases were completed. The Parliament also addressed 9 reports related to other issues and proposed 12 questions to ministers. Overall, 82.9% of the work scheduled for the session was completed, with a total of 76 tasks finished and 63 cases left pending. The session held 33 meetings spanning 75 hours in total. Notably, several key bills were passed during this session. Deputy Speaker Ahmad Nazim stated the second session of the 20th Parliament is set to commence in October, while the first meeting likely to be held on either October 3rd or 7th. The Parliament resolves to convene 2 sittings to appoint a new Prosecutor General PG following the dismissal of former Prosecutor General Hussein Shamim. Under the Prosecutor General's Act, a new appointment must be made within 30 days if the position becomes vacant. Deputy Speaker Ahmad Nazim announced that Parliament will hold 2 sittings to appoint a new Prosecutor General. He also noted that parliamentarians will receive a 3-day notice before each sitting. Former Prosecutor General Shamim was dismissed after parliamentary debate and subsequent vote. He was removed with 65 votes in favour and 9 votes against. The dismissal was initiated by parliamentarian Mohammad Shahid and approved by the Parliament's Judiciary Committee, which gave Shamim the opportunity to respond to the no-confidence motion against him. During the debate, opposition parliamentarians voiced objections to Shamim's dismissal. Parliamentarian Ibrahim Nazil criticized the Judiciary Committee for conducting its meeting with Shamim in secrecy, arguing that it violated parliamentary rules. In contrast, ruling party members defended the secretive nature of the meeting, asserting it was lawful and presented valid reasons for Shamim's removal. Shamim faces several allegations, including mishandling high-profile cases such as the sexual assault charges against former Tourism Minister Ali Wahid, the case against former Youth Minister Ahmad Mahlouf, and failing to appeal an alleged rape case involving a foreigner. Additionally, he is accused of withdrawing human trafficking charges against former parliamentarian Ali Riza, cases related to the same-sex relationships, and 77 alcohol-related cases. Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited (MIFCO) has temporarily relocated its operations in Kandogiri Island to Felivaro Island following the Cabinet's decision to hand over the island to Maldives National Defence Force (MNDF). The management and senior officials of MIFCO and MNDF on Thursday visited Kandogiri to conduct a site operation. The Cabinet of Ministers made the decision that the Housing Development Corporation (HDC) should allocate a suitable land from Hulumale for MIFCO to carry out its Kandogiri operations. MIFCO notes that discussions on the acquisition of a suitable land is ongoing with HDC. MIFCO states that the company aims to take advantage of the investment opportunities available and restore the services on a large scale by acquiring suitable land in Hulumale as soon as possible. It notes that a land is important to make use of the planned investment of $8 million under the Saudi Fund and the Islamic Development Bank ISDB Fund. While MIFCO has handed over Kandogiri to MNDF, the company must move the whole facility out of the island by September 15th. As such, the company has started work to produce its lifestyle products at the Felivaro complex as a temporary fix. Speaking on the occasion, the Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources, Ahmad Shyam, stated that even though Kandogiri was brought to operations to solve the challenges faced by the fishing industry, a desirable solution to these challenges has not been found despite long-term efforts. Kandogiri was the hub of MIFCO's lifestyle products such as pre-made food made available by the company. The island was also used to weigh yellowfin tuna and skipjack tuna caught by the fishermen. MIFCO also provided ice to the fishermen from the island. The European Union says that it is confident that European subsidy schemes on dairy products are in line with international trade rules after China opened an anti-subsidy probe into dairy imports from the EU on August 21st.
China's probe stepped up tension with the 27-member bloc a day after Brussels published its revised tariff plan for China-made electric vehicles. The EU on Tuesday revised its proposed punitive duties on imports of Chinese EVs to 36.3% from an initial planned duty of 37.6%, but fell short of abandoning them, as Beijing had called on Brussels to do. The revision drew rebuke from China's Commerce Ministry, which in response said it is firmly opposed to and highly concerned about the findings and vowed to take all necessary measures to protect Chinese firms. The anti-subsidy investigation on dairy announced by China's Commerce Ministry, the latest in a series of Chinese probes this year into EU agricultural goods, will focus on various types of cheeses, milks and creams intended for human consumption. European Commission spokesperson Olaf Gill said the bloc firmly defends the interest of dairy industry and of the common agricultural policy.
I would just really stress that the Commission will firmly defend the interests of our dairy industry and of our common agricultural policy, and we will take all necessary actions to ensure that this investigation fully complies with all relevant World Trade Organization rules.
China will examine 20 subsidy schemes from across the bloc, specifically from Austria, Belgium, Croatia, Czech Republic, Finland, Italy, Ireland and Romania. European Dairy Association head Alexander Anton told Reuters, Beijing's move shows a further degradation of trade relationships between the EU and China, adding that among the bloc countries, France would be the most impacted if the probe results in restrictive measures.
I mean, we've heard the High Representative of the European Commission speaking about the Chinese-European trade relationships, and which is in troubled waters right now. There are turbulences all over, and the Chinese made it, for me, quite visible that the tariff that have been decided at European level on the electric vehicles may have been the trigger for that procedure, which is again, agri-food products are again a collateral damage, if you will, in a greater trade turbulence.
According to Chinese customs data, the EU was China's second largest source of dairy products with at least 36% of the total value of imports in 2023, behind only New Zealand. According to the data from the European Commission's Directorate General for Agriculture and Rural Development, which cited Eurostat, the EU exported 1.7 billion euros, $1.84 billion, in dairy products to China in 2023, down from 2 billion in 2022.
We are pretty safe and pretty confident that the measures that have been highlighted by the Chinese authorities based on the Common Agricultural Policy are all WTO compatible. That has been notified to WTO in I think in July 2023. So there we are really basically, legally speaking, on a rather safe ground. But if the Chinese authorities feel or think that there is ground of investigations, we will be more than happy to support and help to clarify that part of the dairy part of our trade relationships with China.
Disappointed pro-Palestinian activist says Kamala Harris's speech to close the Democratic Convention in Chicago failed to demonstrate any break from the status quo after a week in which the most divisive issue facing the party was mostly ignored.
Under pressure to respond to critics of US support for Israel's war in Gaza, the Vice President used her Thursday night speech to repeat earlier calls for a ceasefire and a hostage deal. She said she supported Israel's right to defend itself while also favoring the Palestinian right to self-determination. Abbas Alawai, co-founder of the uncommitted national movement that mobilized more than 750,000 voters to protest US policy on Israel, said that Harris missed an opportunity to win over those people, many of whom live in battleground states such as Michigan and Arizona. Uncommitted delegates and their allies had pushed unsuccessfully for a prime-time speaking slot at the Democratic National Convention, DNC, to address the latest bloodshed in the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Gaza health officials say that Israel's assault on Hamas-governed Gaza, with the aid of US support, has killed 40,000 Palestinians, along with displacing nearly its entire 2.3 million population, causing a hunger crisis and flattening almost the entire enclave. Rima Muhammad, an uncommitted delegate from Michigan, said the speech added to disappointment over the DNC's refusal to let a Palestinian speak. A campaign spokesperson declined to explain the decision not to schedule a speech by a Palestinian speaker at the DNC. The decision was made by DNC organizers in close consultation with the Harris campaign. Party insiders fear that the Gaza war could cost Harris needed votes in battleground states such as Michigan, which is a home to a large Muslim and Arab American population, and college campuses that have been the site of Gaza protests. The convention was held in Chicago, home to the United States' largest Palestinian community, according to the Arab American Institute.
That's all the news we have for today. Thank you all for watching.